The Front Row Show does not reflect the views of Utah State Athletics, or its affiliates.
Excuse me, what the hell's going on out here?
I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational, but that just wouldn't be our style.
Stick this in your trophy case.
Hey, Front Rowers. Today we're sitting down with head coach Matt Wells. This is the Front Row Show.
Welcome to the Front Row Show, Aggie Nation, and we are privileged. I believe this is Matt Wells' first podcast. This is his podcast debut.
It is.
We are
Yes.
we are happy you're making the debut with us, Coach. Thanks for being on with us.
But it's not the first time I've heard you.
Oh, yes.
This is good.
Oh,
That
I
makes us
downloaded.
happy.
Here we go.
That
Let's
makes
do
us
it.
happy.
We're going to tweet this thing out here in just a second, too.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I'm curious. Gary Andersen gets hired at Wisconsin. What's your first thought when that news breaks?
That I'm going to Wisconsin with him.
So when did the Utah State job come in place for you then?
About 30 seconds after that.
So was it you that initialized that, or did
No,
Scott
well,
call you, or how did that all go down?
No, it was, basically in this profession when, when a change happens and the head coach looks right at you and said, I'm going to do this. Are you in? Are you coming with me? Throw your hand up in the air and say, yep, I'm rolling. And it's not real hard because this is an insecure business. I mean, this profession is, especially in this day and age, of the mentality of, really fans and fan base, and everybody expects you to win right now. It's that we don't have patience. And it's a little bit of a microwave society, and I think in that we all want it now, and we want it right now. But in this profession, it's very unstable, and when your guy all of a sudden is leaving and he says, are you coming with me? You say, yeah. And then in the very next breath, when he says, you think you want to be the head coach at Utah State, you say, yeah, too. And then it was, shortly thereafter that Mr. Barnes called and said, hey, let's visit. And so, obviously it was less than 48 hours later, we were sitting in that auditorium right there. So,
what was your feeling when the offer was officially extended to you to become the head coach at Utah State?
The normal emotional thoughts of, gratitude, first of all, very humbling. It's an honor. And then you're juiced.
Yeah.
And then you're stressed out right after that because you can't screw it up at your alma mater, right? Yeah. So you got a little bit of everything going on.
Well, one of my personal favorite things about you as a coach is you are an athlete who actually played your football here, and you're
Right.
coming back as a head coach. What changes have you noticed at the university level and with the football program specifically since when you played here and coming back now as the head coach?
Well, the obvious changes with the the bricks and the mortar. I mean, this the lob complex that we're sitting in right now definitely wasn't here, and the new weight room and all the changes, the cosmetic changes, but internally what wasn't here either that is definitely here now is top down leadership and the commitment level from President Albrecht to Scott Barnes and to all of our donors, and the way people have really stepped up. I mean, it's an amazing commitment from the administration and the athletic department and our donors to, see that we're given things to be able to compete from a resource standpoint, and that's the major change.
Okay. Well, following up with that then, what is your big sell about Utah State when you're out recruiting? What is the big thing that you can now talk about this program and people want to send their kids here and athletes actually want to come and attend?
Well, the thing that I like is I don't think it's a sales job. I think recruiting is sales, but I don't think it's a sell job. I think you present Utah State, and what you present is a team that now is going in the Mountain West. It's a big selling point. Okay, it's a stable conference again in an unstable college football landscape that will change again here in the next few years. I mean, it's changing all the time. So you have that. You got a tremendous conference with, I think, a program that we are going to compete for the Mountain West Championship every year. I think we're, built to last. That's the plan, at least, and to continue to reload. And that means, recruiting. And then I think the third component of it is that from an academic standpoint. And, right now for 5 straight years, we've graduated every senior football player at Utah State. When you say that in living rooms and you see that we have a 2.91 team GPA and 50-some guys, over a 3.0 GPA on this team, I think it gets parents' attention. It gets a kid that cares about academics attention. And I think there's a tremendous support group here with our football program as far as academics are concerned. So those things being part of the process, and then when you get them on campus, they see this, and the first comment is, I never knew Utah State was this good. And they see this stuff. Now you got systems and you got bricks and mortar and you've got the facilities. I think it makes for an appealing decision for a young man.
So what do they know then? Obviously we've got a lot of hidden gems when they come and make their visits. What is the vibe out there in the nation right now as far as what Utah State is, and what have people heard?
Well, it's a very good vibe, first of all, because we've played very well on national television. And I think, let's face it, we're all young in here. ESPN, social media, right now that's big for Utah State. And we have played well on the national spotlight. We need to win one of those BCS games on the road. We need to find a way to finish one. We've played really, really well in them. But I think when you talk about outside the state of Utah, that's what kids see, the way you play, and then they see, the way you market your program from YouTubes to Facebook to Twitter and all that stuff. That's new age recruiting right now going on. Kids in state, they get to see you, and they see it, and they see the way you're competing on the field. Against other in-state schools, against in the conference schools, and then I think they feel it from a recruiting standpoint because we're right in the thick of those races.
You talk about the importance of Twitter and social media and kind of this new age of college football. You took to Twitter. Coach Andersen didn't have a Twitter account, at least not that I was aware of, but you decided to open up the Twitter account, and how has that been effective for you, and what was your ultimate decision in going to Twitter?
Basically, the ultimate decision was that I thought it fed two ways. I thought it was, number one, just a way to promote the program and to brand it and image it from a marketing standpoint to our alumni and fans and those kind of people. And then the second thing is, recruiting. That's the way kids communicate some now, and then they get their information. And, that's legally, when you can direct message them through that, just like you can Facebook, it's just another means of communication to that young kid. But I think it's the things that you feel, you allow people a little bit more of a feel inside your program on a daily basis.
We talk about, especially on the show, we're all about Aggie culture and creating more Aggie culture. And, this program was down for so many years. It's gotten back up. But we were talking, there's been a lot of really great moments in our lives for Aggiedom. I was curious what your favorite moment in coaching has been. Just something that was fun or something that just really stood out to you as, wow.
Well, I think probably first of all here at Utah State, I'll start here. The win against Nevada 2 years ago to make us bowl eligible. Yeah, that was huge because we hadn't been to a bowl since we'd been to the Vegas Bowl when I was a player here. Before that, the 1 year in Idaho, but 1-1. So we now all of a sudden we're bowl eligible. That was a big win. Last year the Utah win, definitely a highlight in my career as well as this program. That's a big win. Another bowl win, the second bowl win ever. And then if you're asking me from a personal standpoint, those are definitely the highlights right now. Some good highlights at Tulsa with winning the Conference USA Championship and winning Liberty Bowls and that kind of thing. And then really at the beginning of my career was Army-Navy, being in 5 of those games. So that was pretty cool.
Those are for anyone that has the chance to watch the Army-Navy game, and when the cadets walk in, that is one of the spectacular things in college football, I think, to watch. It's unbelievable, the atmosphere that is in there. What lessons has football taught you as a person that you can take not only to your personal life but into coaching as well?
I think the two biggest is discipline and teamwork because, this is the greatest team sport ever invented. If you want to play an individual sport and they're great, you need to go play tennis and golf and all that, but this is the greatest team sport ever invented. One person can't carry it. It's a little different than basketball in that way. One person can't do it in football. You got to have a team, and you got to have both sides of the ball. as well as the kicking game. Kickers have to carry their weight, and we're all together in that. I think that's the first thing is as a coach, teamwork as far as the staff room and the chemistry that we have within the staff, but then as players too in the locker room. And so I think it's an unbelievable way to teach teamwork, which is real life too. And I think discipline and allowing you to put away selfish motives and selfish intentions and lazy intentions or laziness, for the good of the team, for individual success and team success, and learning how to do something right every single day and every single rep, learning how to do it right. And then if I had to do one more thing too, is it would probably be, learning how to deal with adversity. It's like I told our staff today, and I told some of our seniors yesterday, we're going to deal with adversity. The 2013 edition of the Aggies or Utah State's going to deal with some form of adversity. I don't even really mean that, to be honest with you. I mean something's going to happen. Somebody's going to get sick. Somebody's going to get injured. Somebody's going to be out for the year. We're going to lose multiple starters. We're not going to lose any. We're going to have a huge dose of adversity or something small or a bunch of small things. Well, you know what? It's either going to have to be next man up or we're going to have to hold the rope a little tighter and pull it. But we're going to go through some forms of adversity, and to see kids how they grab on a little tighter and they become a little bit better teammate, I think that's huge in the game of life.
So we've seen you reaching out lately through your Twitter account and some of the things you're counting down the days till game day by throwing out a lot of references to older players and a lot of the legacies that we have at Utah State. And we've also watched you invite a lot of the former alumni back who were members of the team to come back and meet things. And it's something that we haven't really seen a lot in the culture around here is opening our arms up and saying, yeah, we may not have had the records, but we have outstanding athletes and people willing to support the program. What's your goal with that, and has it been successful for you?
I think it's been a good start. It's not where I want it to be yet, but there's those little things that I just want to reach out and touch. The guys that have been here before that have left a legacy or they've helped build part of this foundation of this program. One of my biggest things is for our team is that they play for the guys that have come before them every Saturday or Thursday or Friday. They play for the guys that are in the locker room with them right now, which will be their best friends for life. And then they're going to play for the guys that are going to come after them, which are recruits or little bitty junior Aggies running around here. And that to me is about setting a legacy, leaving a legacy, which was our theme 2 years ago, leaving a legacy. And that was guys like Turb and Bobby Wagner, which are part of that. Now we're playing for those guys that have come before us. So the 2013 edition of the Aggies are playing for the Phil Olsons, for the Dave Cragthorpes, for Bobby Wagner in every decade. Because those guys, they hang on every score. They hang on. It's unbelievable. I used to be that guy. I'm not anymore because I already know what the score is of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't have to check that score. That used to be the first score I checked on the cell phone every week when I'd come in from the locker room or come in from the field to the locker room or getting on the bus or the plane. It's what's the Aggie score. It's important to those of us who played, whether your teams were successful or not, like you mentioned. But I think they're part of the foundation. They're part of the fabric of this program that we want to reach out, we want to represent, we want to make them proud, and anything that we can do to honor them and to motivate us, I think is healthy.
I think that I'm always curious with coaches because coaching is a very consuming profession. But you have to have a certain type of balance in your life, I think. And I think the person that really deserves a big shout out in all this would be your wife. Could you talk a little bit about, her support of you in this and maybe how she feels about inheriting, 100 college kids as her kids now?
Yeah. Yeah, she only used to have 5 quarterbacks. So, now she has 105, you're right. But Jen is tremendous support for me, and you're right. She kind of married into the profession, and, a lot of wives are supportive of our, and we include them, our coaches' wives. They're very, very much a part of the Aggie football family, our kids and our wives, and it's important to them. And it's the life their dad lives, so it becomes important to them. And it's it's a huge part of their life, but the support that they give you and you do because you do sacrifice, and and it is consuming as a coach. And but I think it's a balance. It's a challenge for us and me as a new head coach is to balance that out, because if it gets out of whack, it's going to be unhealthy. And you're going to drive yourself crazy. You're going to drive her crazy. And when mama ain't happy, then ain't nobody happy. So
what's been your biggest surprise as the head coach?
The amount of stuff that goes across your desk that has nothing to do with football. No, I'm serious.
Just paperwork?
Yeah, and decisions that, are like, yeah, the head coach makes that decision. Why can't you make it? And it's like sometimes you have to stamp everything, which is great. And I'm learning, but that's probably the biggest surprise. And the amount of time that it takes up in your day of things that aren't on your schedule. That's the way I've come, or not on your calendar. It's been on my calendar. I know I got a 30-minute block with the best podcast group in the state of Utah and the nation. Okay, and I know that's coming. You with me?
Yeah.
But when I walk out of here in 30 minutes or however long we stay in here, there's about 3 things that are coming my way. I just don't know it. Is it a player? Is it a coach? Is it an issue? Is it equipment guy? Is it travel? Is it the ops? Is it the academic guy? That really, be honest with you, it's not overwhelming. I love it, but it's just been, it's on the job training.
Well, I know that we've got a new food and nutrition coach that's basically come in along with the strength training.
It's the same guy.
It's the same guy, right? But I was curious. I mean, from your personal view at this point, how has that affected the way that your athletes are working, and have you noticed a change within the last year with Schultz?
Yeah, I've noticed a big change mentally and physically. I think we've leaned out. We've dropped body fat percentage. We've got lean muscle mass. We've gained weight. That's muscle. I think the kids tell me that they feel more energized after workouts, as in the next morning. We'll see how it pays dividends during training camp and throughout the year, but it can't help but Dave Scholes is, came from the 49ers, and that was his baby. That's his expertise, and it's how we eat and when we eat and how we train and all that. It's all rolled up into one, and he's been very happy with him.
Perfect.
You have an outstanding quarterback in Chucky Key. I think everyone feels he could be one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in Utah State history. The real question is, 40-yard slant route, who throws it better, you or Chucky?
Chucky.
That didn't take him long
Did you say
at all.
a 40-yard slant route?
Sure.
It's a heck of a long slant route. Yeah, I can tell you he surpassed me a long time ago. He's a tremendous player, tremendous talent. God-given ability, but takes that and has a work ethic that's second to none, and an ability to process information, which is very unique for young men. And the guys that can do it all and put it all together have a chance to be special. And he's done well. He's got a lot of ball ahead of him. I mean, he's got 2 more years and a lot of games. We're starting to scratch the surface with him.
Well, we actually have talked a little bit about how one of the outstanding things about him is his leadership, and how this has kind of become his team starting this year. That there's been a lot of senior leadership there before and outstanding players, but he's really kind of inheriting this. How have you seen him handle that leadership role, and what's been going on?
Very well and very natural. Of course, that's a position that you play that naturally you are in the leadership position. But this is part of his team. It's not just his team. We've got outstanding senior leadership on offense, from DJ Talavea, Tyler Larson, Travis Reynolds, to our defenders, to Connor Williams, to Jake Dowdy, and Nevin Lawson. Those 6 guys are tremendous leaders, and we've got a lot of guys that exhibit that from a work ethic standpoint, a vocal leadership standpoint. Chucky's just one of them.
You're an offensive guy. Looking at the defense that Utah State has, do they scare you?
Yeah, they used to when I was just a coordinator, but now that I'm a head coach, I love them.
They're a great thing to have on your side. What can we expect from your new defensive coordinator?
Well, I think the biggest thing is Coach Orlando's done a great job of jumping in with both feet, arms out, accepted them, come in and jumped right into our scheme, and then put his own twist on things. And Coach Orlando's not going to suit up and play. I mean, we got 11 dudes and another X amount of subs. How many is that? I don't know, but 5 to 10 or however many we end up playing that are going to do a great job on Saturday. I know that they were a major, major, major factor in us winning a championship last year. And the old saying, defense wins championships, definitely held true. We had a great defense last year. They played really well, got a lot of guys back, and I expect the same level of output from them.
Well, perfect. There's been a lot of talk, and I know that this is a question that you've probably been asked on several times, but I know this is your chance to hopefully end the debate for everyone out there.
We'll never ask this again.
There's been a lot of concern about the receiver corps, just because we've got a lot of unproven players, people we haven't seen a lot because we graduated a lot of people who were catching the ball last year. What should be our feeling going into the season about the receiving corps?
That's a fair question based on who we lose. But the major concern, to be honest with you, that comes from all you guys. I mean, internally, I'm not concerned. I'll be interested to see who steps up and who assumes different roles. We will play a lot of those guys, and we'll have different roles for each one of those kids. But the leadership with the two seniors of Travis Reynolds and Travis Van Leeuwen, I don't question that one bit. It seems to be that they're picking right up where they left off from in terms of leadership, and then it'll be fun to go out there and see where they're at physically starting next Friday. But I don't have a concern. I just got an interest in who's going to really step up and the different types of roles that we will as coaches define for them.
You kick off at Utah. Pre-game, are you going to deliver the big speech, or is that just something you just let the players take care of and let them get themselves ready?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's a game that, to be honest with you, we're going to probably be calming them down more than anything, and they don't need me to sit up there and rant and rave and give them some brimstone speech or anything. I think we'll have our focus and we'll try to continue to sharpen that focus the closer to game time that we get, and we'll all be emotional for that opener. But it's the team that's going to, and I talk about both teams. It's going to be the team that's able to channel that emotion into a laser-like focus that is able to convert on third downs and get stops on third downs and execute in the kicking game. And that'll be the team that executes the best that'll win that game, because both teams will be emotional. The crowd will be emotional. Both staffs will be. It means something to us. It's an in-state rivalry. It's huge. And we will be, no question, we'll be ready to play.
When you walk into Romney Stadium, what makes you happy? Like, what makes you wake up in the morning and go, my life is good?
Probably the fact that we got really good players, to be honest with you. It's I could have said something, I'm a dream job, or I'm a alma mater and all that, but it would sure stink if we didn't have good players.
Very true.
So, and I know this is probably something else that you have addressed at some point, but we do have a lot of unknown questions. We're used to a lot of running backs that have been coming in here in the past little while. We've got a lot of talent in the NFL at the moment because of that. Has that been a draw for the recruits? Have they been able to see Bobby Wagner and Robert Turbin playing on Sundays, and you have people going, well, yeah, I'm a running back. I want to come and attend your institution?
Yeah, I think you look at the last three running backs to be drafted in the last, the 2 seasons with Robert Turbin, Michael Smith, and then Kerwin last year. I think that's a huge draw. We got more running backs drafted in the last 2 years than anybody in the country, nation. And I think that's big. We've done it with multiple backs. We've done it primarily last year with one ball carrier, Kerwin. 2 years ago we had three NFL running backs sitting in the same backfield. Kerwin was number 3. I think that's what our offense gives us, is the flexibility to move those carries around and feature those guys in roles that they can be productive. And so this year's group will be interesting to see who takes those roles and who takes the lead. And again, we'll be multiple backs. I'd like to play 3 of them, and we got a lot to choose from. We got to have some guys step up during training camp.
So do you see Joe Hill having the same NFL potential?
Well, I think, that'll be, remains to be seen. He needs to go out and do that. Is he physically gifted? Yeah, he sure is. Yeah, he's sharp. He knows what we're doing. He's got speed. He's got home run speed, ability to catch a ball. Can he, be a primary ball carrier? We'll all find out, But Joe will fit a certain role. It'll be a very valuable role for us in the backfield this year.
Just in closing and wrapping up this interview, is there
We have to
anything-
wrap it up.
Hey,
we're under time constraints. We talked to you forever.
We'll keep you here all night, but we were told we had a time limit. Is there anything you'd like to say to Aggie Nation as the head coach?
In what regards?
Just
Rah.
sure.
No, I think Aggie Nation is tremendously loyal. I think you talk about the people that have been coming here for 30 years that are sitting right outside the window as we look, in the chairbacks and in that donor section, and I think Aggie Nation encompasses the ones with young families that come sit there in the south end zone, and then I think it's a huge juice energy boost when you look up and you see the herd, in that section. And that's been something really cool to see, the takeover in the herd, the way they've just spilled into the stadium. And obviously it started in basketball and in the Spectrum, and there was a great product in the Spectrum, and there still is. But to see the students and the way they act on game day and the way they've come in and all the chants and all the yells, I'll tell you what's a really, really cool sight is about whatever it is, an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours before the game, whenever it is, and we're out there with the quarterbacks and the receivers and running backs, and we're throwing on our own before really we start real warm-ups and the gates open down there in the south end zone, and to see the herd just sprinting for the seats and then to hear them heckle and give a hard time to the opposing team in warm-ups. I mean, I just think that you're talking about a stadium that's continuing and helping establish a true home field advantage, and that's all part of it. So I think Aggie Nation encompasses a lot of different groups, and they're all loyal, they're all supportive, and once an Aggie, always an Aggie.
Coach, thanks for joining us today on the Front Row Show. We hope you'll come back often, or we hope they allow us to come back often.
We'll do it
as soon as possible.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
For the Front Row Show, I'm Jeff Browning.
And I'm Lance Rasmussen.
Go Aggies.
Hey, Aggie fans, thanks again for listening to this episode of The Front Row Show. Be sure to download all our archived episodes on iTunes, follow us on Twitter at USU Front Row, like our page on Facebook at facebook.com/USU Front Row, and subscribe to us on our new YouTube channel at youtube.com/USU Front Row. Go Aggie.